We are joined by Dean Hubbard. Glenn Hubbard, by the way, is not only the head of the business school here, he also happened to serve at the White House, where he was chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors. So this is a man who knows not only about what's happening in the economy, but also what's happening with these students. You talk to them all the time. What's the question that you'd like to pose to Mr. Gates and Mr. Buffett?
Well, thanks, Becky, and thanks to both of you for being here today. And Warren, welcome home.
Thank you.
To Columbia Business School. But Warren, one thing you said years ago that's always stuck with me is you never know who's swimming naked till the tide goes out. And that, of course, says maybe there's some value in knowing when it's going to be low tide. It also says there's value in knowing context. How do we develop, how do we encourage business leaders to understand context and connect the dots?
Well, I think they've learned a lot about that in the last year, and some never learn. At Berkshire, we have actually 70-some managers, and I think most of them are a fair amount smarter than they were 15 months ago, but they were plenty smart to go in. But I think that what I learned from a Ben Graham, who came up here every Thursday afternoon. He didn't need to do it. He donated whatever he got paid back to the school and all of that. But having sound principles takes you through everything. And the bedrock principles that really I learned from Graham and Dodd, I haven't had to do anything with them. I mean, they take me through good periods, they take me through bad periods, and in the end, I don't worry about them because I know they work.
Bill, what do you think is the most important character for a business leader to have?
Well, it's surprising that the fundamentals of business are pretty straightforward. You try to take more in an income than you spend in cost, and that's a pretty straightforward subtraction. But it's surprising in terms of projecting out into the years ahead that, are we making the right investments? Are we gaining on the competition? Are we making it a little bit harder for people to replace what we're doing? That kind of common sense, I guess you've got to develop it through experience. And I think it's neat if you're young, you can see that in a small scale and be hands-on with it, because a lot of people who start with large businesses may have a hard time with it. So, the basics are pretty straightforward. Learning how it works and doesn't work in a variety of industries by reading a lot, I think that's something that comes with time, and a business school is an intense period where you can get ahead of the game.
I send one message out every year and a half or 2 years to the managers. They get one letter from me every couple of years, and it says, run this business like it's the only business that your family can own for the next 100 years. You can't sell it, but every year, don't measure it by the earnings in that quarter of that year. Measure it by whether the moat around that business, what gives it competitive advantage over time, is widened or narrowed. And if you keep doing that for 100 years, it's going to work out very well. And then I tell them, basically, if the reason for doing something is everybody else is doing it, it's not good enough. I mean, if you have to use that as a reason, forget it. You haven't got a good reason for doing something, so never use that.
Okay, let's get to some student questions.